addition to absolute time, the Qur'an has also revealed the existence of cosmic time as that dimension of time which connects with absolute time. يدبر الأمر من السماء إلى الأرض ثم يعرج إليه في يوم كان مقداره ألف سنة مما تعدون. He governs all that exists, from the celestial space to the earth, and in the end all shall ascend unto him for judgment on a day, the length of which will be like 1,000 years of your reckoning. This is cosmic time. He says again, يعرج الملائكة والروح إليه في يوم كان مقداره 50,000 سنة. The angels and the Spirit, the Holy Spirit, the Ruhul Qudus, they ascend to him daily in a day, the length of which is like 50,000 years. This is cosmic time. It is certain that a system of multi-dimensional time must have a mizan which connects absolute time with cosmic time, and then connects cosmic time with lunar time. And so it is certain that the mizan must connect them harmoniously with each other. If we lose, or we become disconnected with lunar time, or the world of time in which we live here, then the world of cosmic time, which is the medium through which absolute time can be approached, would remain inaccessible. Let me repeat that. If we lose or become disconnected with lunar time, then the world of cosmic time, which is the medium through which absolute time can be approached, would remain inaccessible. The price we would then pay is that nur or sacred light from Allah can no longer come down on us from the world of cosmic time in order to enter our hearts. When we have no nur or light in our hearts, we will remain a people who are internally blind. The dreadful implication of such blindness is that we will be raised blind in the next world as well. Man kana fi hadhihi a'ma fahuwa fil akhirati a'ma wa adallu sabil. Whoever is blind, in Surah Al-Isra verse 72, whoever is blind in this world, that is internally blind, will be blind in the world to come as well, and will be further astray from the path of truth. One of the consequences of blindness in this world is that people would not think. They would not use their rational faculty to recognize truth. They would be devoid of something called basar, and hence cannot see with the nur of Allah. This is precisely the kind of world that Dajjal seeks to achieve. And Allah has delivered a dire warning to such people. وَمَنْ أَعْرَضَ عَنْ ذِكْرِي فَإِنَّ لَهُ مَعِيشَةً ضَنْكًا وَنَحْشُرُهُ يَوْمَ الْقِيَامَةِ أَعْمَى. Listen. But as for him who turns away from remembering me, living for me, he will be confined to a narrow and a meaningless life. And on Judgment Day, we will raise him up blind. When Allah Most High created this Sama ad-Dunya, the lowest heaven, the material universe, He also created doors and gates through which we can pass from this world of space and time to other worlds of space and time. إِنَّ الَّذِينَ كَذَّبُوا بِآيَاتِنَا وَاسْتَكْبَرُوا عَنْهَا لا تفتح لهم أبواب السماء ولا يدخلون الجنة حتى يلج الجمل في هم الخياط وكذلك نجزي المجرمين. The doors or the gates of the universe through which the angels descend into this world of space and time, and which servants of Allah can traverse with basar, internal insight, beyond this world to other worlds of space and time, would not be open to those who scornfully reject our ayat. And they cannot enter Jannah, never, until a camel can pass through the eye of a needle, never. And thus we punish those who are lost in sin. Allah has created a system of time in which we are supposed to live, and through which we are supposed to measure time. He has created a system of time with which we are supposed to live, and through which we are supposed to measure time, and more importantly, to traverse through different worlds of space and time. The system of time was created and designed by Allah Most High to play a critically important role in our spiritual life. We must see with it. We must hear with it. We must think with it. We must live with it. We must sleep with it. We must wake with it. Most importantly of all, our hearts must beat in synchrony with it. When people stop thinking, Dajjal seduces them to disturb and to transgress that balance as it applies to the system of time. The consequence is that they lose meaningful contact with the system of time, and they pay a dreadful price for it. They are reduced to the like of sheep and cattle and goats and camels. We remind those who still think that the hilal or the crescent moon and the different phases of time that we see with our naked eyes are all located at the very heart of the system of time. يَسْأَلُونَكَ عَنِ الْأَهِلَّةِ قُلْ هِيَ مَوَاقِيتُ لِلنَّاسِ وَالْحَجِّ. And they question you, O Muhammad alayhi salatu wasalam, about the crescent moon. Say to them, the crescent moon delivers a system of time through which time can be measured, and the crescent moon will therefore determine the time of the Hajj, or the pilgrimage to Kaaba. The Qur'an has further explained that the function of the sun in that system of time is to illumine the moon, and the constant movement of the moon around the earth is designed to allow the moon to be progressively illumined in such a way as would deliver a system of time with which mankind can compute time. Let's go back again to Yunus verse 5. It is He who has made the sun a source of radiant light, and when that light the moon is illumined, and He has ordained phases of growth or stages of growth and of decline for the moon, so that you might be able to count the years and to compute time, measure time. None of this has Allah created without haqq and inner truth. Clearly does He spell out these messages for people of insight. Allah Most High has reminded us, lest we forget, that the night, the day, the sun, the moon, the stars have all been created in order to function for the sake of mankind, and all functions in a way which provide benefit for mankind. The Qur'an explained that the stages of growth and decline of the moon are meant to provide a compass with which mankind should navigate time throughout the period of a lunar month. For the servants of Allah Most High, there is no month other than a lunar month. For the servants of Allah Most High, there is no other month than a lunar month. So long as mankind live with the moon, from the time of its birth as a crescent moon, and through its stages of growth and decline until it returned like an old, dry, withered branch of a date palm. Mankind lived in a normal world in which a year would pass like a year, and a month like a month, and a week like a week. The normal world of time was also a sacred world of time, and hence time could function as a vehicle for the heart to travel to worlds beyond this world. I remember the famous poet of India before Pakistan was born, Dr. Muhammad Iqbal. He said, "Sitaro se aage jahan aur bhi hai." Beyond the stars, there are many more worlds. The pagan Arabs changed that system of time, and as a consequence, many of them remained deaf, dumb, and blind when Allah Most High raised the last of the prophets from their own ranks. The Qur'an took note of this kufr, this disbelief of the pagan Arabs who corrupted time, because they would add one more month to the 12 months of the year every 3 years, so that the lunar year and the solar year will coincide with each other. Ramadan would always be in summertime. Allah Ta'ala took note of this and made mention of it in Surah At-Tawbah. إِنَّمَا النَّسِيُّ زِيَادَةٌ لِلْكُفْرِ إِلَى آخِرِ الْآيَةِ. Check the ayah, Surah At-Tawbah, verse 37. There is yet another instance. This is yet another instance of the rejection of truth that they interfered with, and they changed the system of time ordained by Allah Most High, in which a year is comprised of 12 lunar months. Rather, they made it permissible, to add another month on some occasions. This adding an additional month was a corruption of the system of time given by Allah. And then came another pagan civilization which appeared in the world in the end time in the form of modern Western civilization. And like the pagan Arabs, this civilization chose to stay with 12 months for the year. But also, like the Arabs, arbitrarily decided that some months would be 30 days long, and others will be 31. 1 month would sometimes be 28, and sometimes 29. So a month could be now 28 days, it could be 29 days, it could be 30 days, and be 31. And when we accept this, we say goodbye to Allah and to His Prophet and to the Aslaf and to all of this civilization before the advent of modern civilization. We say goodbye to all of them, and we now faithfully follow Dajjal. We remind our gentle readers that the calendar of Pope Gregory XIII, which is now almost universally used, as well as the previous Julian calendar, they represented destructive attack on the system of time, the sacred system of time, which functions everywhere in Allah's creation, in which the lunar month is located at the very heart. They both abandoned that sacred system of time and substituted in its place a bogus and pagan system of time, which they chose like the pagan Arabs before them. They kept 12 months to constitute 1 year, but they now arbitrarily decided to dispense with the lunar month and to replace it with months which sometimes have 28 days, 29 days, 30 days, or 31 days. Modern Western civilization went on to impose this satanic system of time on all of mankind. And in the process, the pagan West has succeeded in getting 999 of every 1,000 of mankind to abandon the sacred system of time given by Allah. Our gentle readers, as well as the conventional world of Islamic scholarship, do not need PhDs to recognize that the Pope in Rome acted in this way on behalf of Dajjal, the false Messiah. As a consequence of the universal acceptance of this change from the lunar system of time, in which most people entered into kufr or disbelief, mankind now no longer lives in the system of time ordained by Allah. Most Muslims now turn to the moon only for the purpose of determining when will Ramadan begin, when is Eid al-Fitr. Here is compelling evidence which confirms the dire warning in the Qur'an in Surah Al-Asr, that when the late afternoon of history arrives, mankind will be in a state of loss, save those who have faith and whose conduct is righteous and who exhort each other to hold on to truth and to be patient in adversity. And truth is in the book of Allah. The Qur'an prophesied that mankind will abandon the moon one day. The moon will be broken, meaning one day you'll abandon the moon. This is precisely what has now occurred. Just ask anyone in the world today, how old are you? And he'll give you his age in accordance with Dajjal's system of time. The result of this abandonment of the system of time ordained by Allah is that the ominous prophecy of Prophet Muhammad ﷺ will now be fulfilled for most of mankind, and a strange and ominous world has emerged in which time is now moving faster and yet faster. The Prophet of Allah prophesied that a year will pass like a month and so. When mankind abandoned the system of time ordained by Allah and was seduced in embracing the bogus system of time of ever advancing technological time, the predictable result was that the mizan or balance ordained by Allah in His creation was disturbed, and the hearts of most of mankind, no longer beat in harmony with time as ordained by Allah. This is the explanation for the perception that time is now moving faster and yet faster. Islamic eschatology allows us to identify that rival system of technological time in which time moves faster and yet faster with Dajjal, the false Messiah. We do so, of course, within the context of an Islamic eschatological explanation of modern Western civilization, which, like Dajjal, has the word kafir written on its forehead. Dajjal's master plan for delivering both a bogus system of time as well as a faster-moving technological time is unfolding before our bewildered eyes. And the first two casualties are as follows. Number one, firstly, those who are trapped in faster-moving technological time no longer have time to recite the Qur'an as it ought to be recited, meaning cover to cover once a month. The Qur'an has recorded a complaint of Nabi Muhammad ﷺ, who complained to Allah that his people will forsake this Qur'an. This is Surah Al-Furqan, verse number 30. وَقَالَ الرَّسُولُ يَا رَبِّ إِنَّ قَوْمِ اتَّخَذُوا هَذَا الْقُرْآنَ مَهْجُورًا. Oh my Lord God, my people have forsaken the Qur'an. The very first evidence of such betrayal of the Qur'an is when Muslims no longer recite the Qur'an in accordance with the divinely ordained way that it must be recited. As a consequence of its betrayal of the Book of Allah, they can neither study the Qur'an nor can the Qur'an deliver to them a hijab. It is Surah Al-Isra, which will separate them from the godless world and cover and protect them from so many dangers unfolding in the world in the end time, including the virus. Secondly, As they abandon the system of time ordained by Allah, they are eventually condemned to live in a spiritual vacuum. And as they embrace by faster moving technological time, they become imprisoned in Dajjal's system of time. Such people become shallow thinkers who live moment to moment in small capsules of time. They cannot connect the dots of history to read and to understand the past correctly. They cannot penetrate the world today in order to understand the reality which now confronts them. And they lack the insight with which to anticipate the even more dangerous world which lies ahead. Our main purpose in this talk is to direct attention to the role of continuous recitation of the Qur'an, cover to cover, every lunar month, and in the way that Allah has ordained that the Qur'an must be recited. That this is the means through which you can recover that lost mizan and also return to the system of time ordained by Allah and escape from Dajjal's system of time. This is possible because Allah has delivered a mizan in the Qur'an. And as they recite the Qur'an as it ought to be recited, the Qur'an restores mizan to their hearts. As the reader follows the method of recitation of the Qur'an explained in my book, The Qur'an and the Moon, he and she will recover the mizan of time and constantly experience a return to the perception of time moving normally. Many people have written to me to say, Sheikh, since we are reciting the Qur'an this way, we no longer perceive time moving faster and faster. We have presented compelling evidence of the strategic importance of Islamic eschatology as it recognizes this extraordinary role of the continuous, genuine recitation of the Qur'an for delivering safety in the end time. The Qur'an was not just sent to Muslims. The Qur'an was sent to all of mankind. As a consequence, it should be clear to the Hindu, to the Buddhist, to the Jew, to the Christian, as well as to the Muslim, that only the Qur'an can restore the heart to normal time. It is for this reason that the Qur'an is divinely protected. Our final comment is to direct attention to the difference between mechanical spirituality, which appears to have taken over most of the world of contemporary Sufism today, and the spirituality of the Qur'an, of Nabi Muhammad ﷺ, and of the Aslaf. The Aslaf, his companions. And that spirituality delivers basar. Basar, to see with the internal eye. It is with basar, and only with basar, that a new world of Islamic scholarship can emerge in the model of the scholarship of Khidr alayhi salam, which will dazzle the world in that last shower of rain which is to come in the Ummah of Muhammad alayhi salatu wasalam. And no scholar in the modern age has made a greater effort to direct us to that model of scholarship that is to come than my teacher of blessed memory, Maulana Dr. Muhammad Fadlur Rahman Ansari, rahimahullah. I urge that you should all study his book, his masterpiece, The Quranic Foundations and Structure of Muslim Society, in 2 volumes. Thank you. Wassalamu alaikum wa rahmatullah.